Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Conversations with Geoff, right? And this time it's another show just with Geoff. And those of you that are coming on, we really appreciate that. But hey, I just want to say something. I believe, and you guys know this, but I want to remind those that don't know, I believe that the conversation we have with ourselves about ourselves is the most important gift we either use or lose. That's right. Lose because it runs. Which conversation is really running the show today? Raise your hand if you are in control of the conversation you're having with yourself about yourself. What do you mean, Geoff? I mean, are you really focused on, hey, what it is you're saying to yourself? Are you praising yourself? Are you complimenting yourself? Are you reminding yourself that you too are worthy and successful and can do the things you need to do? Or is it that other shoulder that's whispering in your ear, that's always whispering in your ear? What do you think you can do? Why do you think you can do this? Remember you failed the last time. You guys know the picture. You know what I'm talking about. That's why I believe it's the most important thing that we all have possession of. So I ask you, how are you using it? And if you're not using it right, do you want to change it? Right? Conversations with Geoff was about that, right? And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Geoff Tyson. And I'm known as the comeback king because here's the thing. People have seen me experiencing life's challenges like you have. And showing up no matter what, being persistent, being determined, being deliberate about the next steps, right? No matter how many times I get punched in the face, whether it's divorce or almost in business failing and health and all that other stuff, we keep showing up, man. I've helped hundreds of other people do the same thing, right? So this piece I'm talking to you about is real. It's real. It's real. It's real. So I'm just going to be here for a moment, and I want to tell you, I got something. I want to just share some perspectives. You may or may not think anything about it, but I'm so sick and tired of people saying, "Well, man, I'm too old," yeah, that word, I'm too old, or I don't have the experience, or they can't teach an old dog new tricks. How many times have you heard that one? That's a bunch of crap, man. Right? The conversations that you have with yourself about yourself determine where you're going to end up in your life. That's the facts. So today, but I wanted, as I was preparing, I'm like, okay, well, who in this lifetime that I know of has had an impact? And I want you just to imagine what kind of conversation he was probably having with himself while he was going through this process, right? We all know who I'm about to mention, and it's important. Man, as I was doing the research on this Joker, it was, it's like, just imagining where he's been. So, I'm talking about someone that we know him now as a successful business owner that has franchises all over the world. And he's a little short guy with a funny beard, did tremendous marketing, Colonel Sanders, right? Kentucky Fried Chicken. Why are we talking about Colonel Sanders and Kentucky Fried Chicken? Because that brother was old before he got to where he was, right? He was like 52 years young before he cut through the crack. 52 years young, right? Just like all the other folks that had success, man. So he's here, but let's go back. You probably all know the story. You probably know it better than me. But I'm just going to give you some highlights of where it was. He started in a little small, raggedy town in Kentucky, right? I'm sorry. Any of you from Kentucky, I have some feelings about Kentucky. But anyway, he starts there, right? And so he's doing this business. And look, I didn't tell you that he started in the Depression. For those of you that don't have any idea what the Depression times was, go back and look it up, man. That was a time when the world was falling apart. You think we have it bad now? Right? People were lined up in lines for food. I mean, all kinds of folks, people jumping out the window. I mean, just life was crazy, right? But this brother said, hey, I'm going to fry me some fried chicken. And he fried the fried chicken, right? And he made the fried chicken, and people loved this fried chicken. And he weathered the storms early on in different times, but he had some things that he was already working on. I want you to write this down, right? He already knew. Write this down. He knew what he wanted, right? So, and that's important because that helps change the conversations, that chatter we're having with ourselves, right? So he did all this stuff, and he didn't have a lot of dough. Brother was broke, man, but he was frying chicken, right? In Kentucky. Not Los Angeles, not New York, not a whole lot of things going on, right? So he's down there burning up some chicken and having a good life, man, but he continues on, right? And he attributes some things. One of them is perseverance, right? Persistence. We hear that talk all the time. Can you imagine Can you imagine how it had to be? Think about this for a minute, right? You're in this place and all this stuff's going on in the United States, and you're talking about doing this business. And what are your friends going to tell you? What do your friends tell you today when you talk about doing something different, huh? What do your friends tell you today when you expose that big dream to a small-minded circle of friends and they laugh at you, and then you start to shrivel up a little bit? Who shriveled up before in their life because the friends told them, "Are you crazy?" But anyway, so you can imagine what he's doing with this stuff, man. And look, we all know the end result of that. His business he had first together was a restaurant before I moved away from him. And that restaurant, what happened? The restaurant caught on fire, right? So now he's not only lost the restaurant, but he's lost his business for the moment. But he's an innovator. He's got this thing that nothing's going to stop him from reaching his greatness, right? So he figures out, okay, he hears about franchising. And so he starts to move into that category. Don't be afraid to change directions in your life when life shows up, man. Be open to change, right? And change that conversation to support that change, right? So he does this stuff. And now he's on the move, but it still took him till he was 52 years young to break through. So how many of us out there are 50 or more, or even 30? This is no age discrimination conversation, right? But he just happens to be older too when he got successful. So I ask you, what do you think Colonel Sanders' biggest thing was that kept him going? Put it in the chat when you hear this message. Drop a note in there. Hey, Geoff, I believe he did it because of, and you might even know the story, but what is it that he possesses that you'd like to have? I'll tell you already have it. Right? And why it's so important to understand that the thinking that we talk about in conversations with Geoff's community is real. Right? So it's a real thing, but the nice thing about it, and I said it at the very beginning, it's the most important tool we have that we can start to go a different direction on right now today. We talk about it all the time, guys. It's nothing new, but are you doing it? And if you're not, why not? Right? And I'm talking to myself sometimes, right? Because I got to tell you, man, I have stuff going on, just to can I just go off, I got to drop a little something about Geoff. And so, I'm still dealing with my health, with my prostate recovery process. And now I'm working with some other things around my body that are good for me, but they're just like new. And I don't want to, it's like, man, because it takes about 45 minutes to do every day right now, and it's like, how am I going to do that? Right? I don't have 45 minutes extra. This is just the stuff that happens, right? So I hit what I talk about all the time. I pay attention to what I'm saying. Write this down. You want to be conscious of what it is that you're saying to yourself. If you're wondering how you're going to change this crap, you're going to get into a different position. So I'm paying attention, and then I'm like, I grab Geoff by the look. Sometimes you just got to get a hold of yourself by your shirt collar, right? Grab yourself like this and say, not today, Geoff. Snap out of it. Whatever that takes, folks. Huh? Man, I love this. Whatever that takes to really kind of understand that, hey, yes, you do have time. And it's important. Duh. I mean, this is an important thing I'm talking to you about, and I'm still dragging my feet and I'm crying about it. Sniveling like a little baby about it, man. Wait. Anyway, back to the message. So I hope that helps somebody out there that thinks you got to be perfect, man. Because this thing's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, doing the best that you can at any given time throughout the day, right? So to get back to Colonel Sanders and why I brought this thing up, man, he has a bunch of different things, but number one for him was perseverance and determination. And we talk about that all the time. So apply that in your thinking to this conversation you're having with yourself about yourself and how you're going to change it. He had a passion. His thing was, I want to make the best fried chicken on the planet. And he did for a long time. But I got to tell you, business owners, innovation is something that you have to continue to do all the time. Now he's coming back in his marketing. He's coming back re-imaging himself. But Chick-fil-A is kicking his butt. Sorry, Colonel Sanders. Chick-fil-A is kicking your butt, man. You better get back to the drawing board. Those of you that are in control. Anyway, focus, Geoff. Hard work, adaptability, You got to adapt to something new in order to make this conversation with yourself about yourself change. In order to get rid of that stinking thinking, in order to become in control of your destiny with the chatter that you have, the conversation that you have with yourself about yourself. Because it's possible, right? And you too can be at 52 years old, young, or 60 plus, like I am, and still find what you're looking for, still make life be the way you want it to be, right? So another thing he talks about is customer focus for those of you that are in business. How are you focusing in on your customers? What do you see them as? Do you see them as a relationship or do you see them as a transaction? That's a Geoffism, right? Is it a relationship or is it a transaction? Huh? How many people know that if you go somewhere, and you guys hear this all the time, and they treat you like gold, like family, the food can be terrible, but you'll probably go back and give them another shot. You know, I mean, we've done it before. So if you're in business, focus on that customer focus, man. Marketing and branding. Everybody knows Colonel Sanders. Long beard, skinny, right? All that stuff. Conversation you're having with yourself about yourself. How do you see yourself? How do you position yourself mentally? How do you position yourself consciously, not just subconsciously? Are you setting yourself up every day with chest back, head up, shoulders back, right? Is that how you're doing to yourself? You're already in the mirror. How do you brand yourself, right? Are you that person that's, oh, poor me? Are you like me? And when I'm in the mirror in the morning, I'm reminding myself that I am worthy of success. Nothing will stop me from reaching my destiny today. I will not be denied. And then the next second, I'm slapping myself because that that conversation goes both ways, guys. Okay, I got to stay on track because it's still complete 15 minutes. So anyway, I want you to hear me when I say this to you, that it is possible to change the direction you're going. It's necessary to change the direction you're going. And the power that we all are looking for is in the comeback. Because we're in it. Life is going to show up. Life's going to keep kicking your butt no matter what anyway. So you might as well understand that there's some gifts in that. There's some gifts in the struggle. There's some gifts in, most importantly, the gifts are your message and your magic in that mess. Right? So I challenge you today as I get ready to get out of here. What is it that Colonel Sanders had to believe to continue on? What is it that Martin Luther King had to believe that when he got the last call where the guy said, it sent him to his knees, where he questioned himself. Is this the right thing for me to do? Am I the one? Right before he did the speech. Check out the story. It's a magnificent story, right? What do we have to believe to begin this journey to change the conversation we're having with ourselves about ourselves? Number one, know that your power is in the comeback. And life is full of comebacks here. Going to one, leaving one, or in one. So I tell you today, remember this. You are worthy, and it is possible, and there's no better time than now. You to step into your greatness. Gain control of that conversation you have with yourself about yourself. Man, I just gave you some highlights on some things, but I really got some really powerful things on how you can gain that with inventory. You can gain that with practice. You can gain that with some habit changing things. So hit me up in the chat if you'd like to have more conversations around that. And don't let that whisper, that negative whisper, be the one that rules your day. Stand up. Raise the energy in your mirror when you talk to yourself. Raise the level of belief by talking to yourself a different way. Anyway, man, I had some fun today. I hope you got something out of this conversation. And check out Colonel Sanders if you haven't got it. Check out Martin Luther King if you don't know who he is, and do the research on him. And most importantly, please, please, please keep coming back. Share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button when you hear this. And let's continue to spread the community of conversations with Geoff, where we know that the stinking thinking does not have to rule your life. Hey, I'm out. Have a great Thursday. Check this thing out. Share it. See you on the next episode. Come back king, baby.